Good morning, John.
It's Pizzamas!
I have every opportunity to say just about everything about me on the internet, so I feel like I've said most of the things, but I've searched around and I don't think I've said this. I like mosh pits. Or maybe I used to like mosh pits. It may have gone in my last mosh pit. Like, I know that I'm a huge dork and I wouldn't want anyone to think anything else, but flinging myself into unknown, turbulent physicality with strangers, one of my top 10 sensations of my life. And I think there are some misconceptions about them. The first being that they are purely anarchistic and that they are violent. Now, you can get hurt in a mosh pit, and there are violent people in mosh pits, but there are also rules. Now, the rules are going to be different from scene to scene. Like, a death metal mosh pit is very different from a ska punk mosh pit. But anyway, as an example, the pits I was in, the first and most important rule, if somebody goes down, you get them back up again however you can, because that's the dangerous moment in a mosh pit, when somebody's on the ground. You don't punch, you don't kick. Like, shoving and pushing are so different from punching and kicking. What I was super fascinated with when I was a kid, though, and this era of my life, so maybe from like 15 to 25, is who was making these rules. And if you think about it enough, it becomes this like very clear microcosm for how culture works. Now, there are a lot of inputs here, but like in small shows, which was what I was at, like the person in charge is the lead singer. And if there's like some violence happening in the pit, they can either just let it go or they can say something about it. That's a responsibility that is on them as a leader in that moment. And from there, those cultural norms were then spread throughout the crowd, and something that had been a questionable activity beforehand became something that you obviously shouldn't do and that the rest of the crowd would enforce. There's a live 7 Seconds album called Scream Real Loud, and you can several times throughout the album hear Kevin Seconds say, like, get that guy out of there, or hey, you need to calm down. 7 Seconds, most wholesome hardcore band ever. And bands of that era would also write songs about the rules, which it's fascinating to me. 7 Seconds has a song called Not Just Boys Fun, which is about how to make the hardcore scene more inclusive to all genders. From 1984. It was 1984. And the ridiculously influential, kind of overlooked, way before its time band Operation Ivy. Like, you listen, their big album, Energy, like 50% of the songs are either about how to be a good person generally, like Healthy Body, Sick Mind, or about how to be a good member of the Gilman Street punk scene. The Crowd is one of their songs, has the following line: if we're scared of one another, must be scared of ourselves. More than just another crowd, we need a gathering instead. Like, it's church. These people were my first exposure to how to intentionally lead a community. Now, our parents also were good at that, for clarity. But there's a difference between, like, a hardcore band and your mom in terms of, like, how cool they are. They were leading their communities, they were establishing norms, and they were talking about what behaviors were and weren't acceptable. The world looks like chaos, and yet, usually, we're all able to stay on our feet. But in the best situations, when we aren't, somebody's there to pick you up, because bad things happen when people are on the ground. And you lift that person back up, not just because that's the rules, but because that feels so good. Having someone help you when you really, really need it is nice. And helping someone else when they really, really need it is even better. There's music playing, John, and it's my first video of Pizzamas. So you know what that means. Thanks, Operation Ivy.
Final word, wait, it's not a call to action. We ain't no same, no, this ain't no fucking faction. Unity, you've heard it all before. Time and tide, excuse it, why is that the war? Stop this. Whoa. Unity, as one stand together. Unity, and what we see gotta come. Unity, as one stand together. Unity, and what we see gotta come.
John, I'll see you tomorrow.